Guys, the Global Fest is here in Etheria Restart, and with that Global Fest comes the Hyperlink Gala, and with the Hyperlink Gala comes the Gala Invitation. And these 7-day login rewards that are the Gala Invitation are so phenomenal, in large part, in huge part, enormous part, because of this crazy reward they are giving us. We get an LD SSR Selector Ticket. You have your choice out of these 7 phenomenal, constant and disorder Light Dark SSR units in Etheria Restart, and it's just wild. It really is. This is some pretty maxed out generosity, and we're going to accept it with open arms. In this video, I want to quickly take you through a tier list I'm going to make rating these 7 options. Who is going to be the best choice for your account? This is a really important decision because I do not envision we're getting LD SSR Selector tickets all the time. All 7 of these guys are obviously very, very good. However, there are clear best choices, and I do want to explain each and every one. So I have prepared this tier list that we're going to fill out together. I've got these little squares of our 7 options, and these are our tiers. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am Fasti. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. Let's get into this tier list. Alrighty, folks, let's begin, and let's actually start with the names of these tiers. You can see I've named the tiers Lily. I wonder who's gonna go there. Great choice, good choice, and niche choice. So starting from the bottom up, niche, this means it's a character who's still a solid choice, but they're more specific within the current meta of the game, and they're more limited in terms of their use cases. So none of these guys are going to be bad choices. All the LD SSRs in Etheria Restart are good. They're just different degrees of good. So niche picks, you're going to see when I put them there, they're just guys that aren't as globally helpful for your account. But if you like them and you want to pick them and you have Lily, by all means, do it. Good choice. This is going to go to characters that are just definitively strong units in the game, have PvE and PvP relevance, but are not super game-breaking for almost every single piece of content in the game, like the units that will be slotting into the Great Choice tier and the Lily tier. Then we have Great Choice. This is where we put our best choice that isn't Lily. It's going to be a very, very good choice. You can probably guess who it's going to be. And then finally, our top tier, Triple S, that is the Lily tier. So let's begin there. If Plume was in this group, she would join Lily in the Lily tier, or maybe I'd be forced to call this S tier or the Plume Lily tier, whatever. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Plume is giving Lily a run for her money right now when it comes for the title of Best Animus in Etheria Restart. However, Plume is on rate up right now, as is Yelly, so they are not part of this 7 LD SSR Animus Selector package. Thus, they're left out of this. Lily, though, in my opinion, still is the GOAT. Certainly for progression, she's the GOAT. Many players jokingly call this Lily Restart for a reason, because it is insane how much progress she enables. She is the most dominant PvE force in the entire game, and she is still extremely relevant in PvP. With the current meta, she is not as dominant as she used to be in PvP, but she still is a real viable unit that you will see a lot. So she's entirely relevant there, and I think some people don't realize how utterly dominant she is in the PvE space. I also think there are a lot of players, and other content creators too, that just have had Lily for so long, they don't know what life could look like without Lily. As someone who played the game for over 2 months before I got Lily, it is so insanely apparent to someone in my position what the game is like pre and post Lily. So many things get so much easier instantaneously. And my Lily's still at 5 stars. I haven't even 6-starred her yet. I haven't skilled her up at all yet. Just plug and play. She works everywhere. It is stupid. She is the greatest enabler in the game. Plume is going to take the cake when it comes to the greatest debuffer, but in terms of a support that really just makes huge swaths of Etheria Restart easy mode, you cannot overstate how powerful Lily is. And frankly, she needs a tier of her own because I want to very clearly make the point. If you're trying to progress your account as quickly as possible and do as well as possible in this game, and you do not have Lily, you must select Lily. If you don't really care about the speed of your progress and you're just playing for fun and you think Mio looks cute or you think Massiah is cool or something, do whatever you want. Absolutely. However, if you care about min-maxing and making the best progress you can on your account and you do not have Lily, there's nothing else you need to see in this video. Go into the game, go into the event page, click on this, and select Lily. It really is as simple as that. If we quickly, and I'm not going to spend this long on every single one of the animus, this won't be such a long video, but if we quickly go through the key pieces of PvE content in the game, let's start with the thresholds at the Inferno difficulty. If we go to Nico Nana, Lily is going to be making an appearance right here. She is not required, but she is just phenomenal. You'll see her popping up a ton. There we go, boom, boom. She's going to be making a load of appearances. Then if we go to Sharon, she is basically required. You're going to see Lily on most teams. If we go to the rankings, it is the Lily show. Let's continue on now to Shadow Flame. Lily not required, but again, completely and utterly phenomenal. If we go to recent clears as well, you're going to see her face popping up a decent bit. I will say Solence has definitely seen things change a little bit here, but Lily is still immensely playable. If we go to Rango Kutsu, Lily showing her face left and right once again. And finally, Carrion Crows, Lily is on every single team now. So there you have it. Now for all three thresholds, Lily is immensely playable. You're going to see her in a lot of different spots. So she's not needed for Termaton, but boom, 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 she's going to pop up a ton. Dokidoki, again, not needed, but completely meta. She is very, very dominant, especially on the best comps you can get in this game. And finally, if we go to Aurora, she is absolutely insane in Aurora. So Aurora and Dokidoki, the most important thresholds in the game. She is not required, but entirely meta for both. And then Teramaton, maybe she's not super meta, but she's unbelievably usable, and she really does unlock it for a lot of accounts. And you can kind of see, I've gone through every main piece of PvE content, and Lily is awesome in all of it. It really is as simple as that. And then in PvP, you're going to see her left, right, and center. She's not the top meta for certain things right now, but she is everywhere. So it's a no-brainer. If you don't have Lily, please select Lily. Let's go through the rest of our list now. I've put these guys in the order they appear in this selection card. So we'll kick things off with Massiah, and I'm going to definitively put him in the good choice tier. I will say he will be the top of the good choice tier, and he is borderline great choice in my opinion. It all depends on what you need on your account. Massiah is really, really relevant right now in PvP. He's going to be the best DPS for a cleave comp. He hits very hard, very good AoE, very good single target, and his invincibility is so clutch. He puts this on himself from his S3. He can extend it further through his judgment ability. Very, very, very good unit. Kind of cool to see because he was super meta when the game first came out. Then I feel like there was a bit of a drought, and now he is right back at it. In terms of PvE, he is not the most relevant unit in the game, but he is a pretty hard carry for general progression, and I do think he's become underrated in one specific piece of content, and that is Dokidoki. He's not only very, very strong in Dokidoki, as you're going to see here, he's used on 2 of these top 4 teams, and you'll see him popping up on any standard clears. But on top of that, he's a unit you can confidently invest in, whereas someone like Real Mocha, who is going to fairly dominate the Dokidoki meta, she is really, really specific right now. Real Mocha in endgame content has no play outside of Dokidoki, so investing in her S3 so she can succeed for you in Dokidoki is a far more narrow investment that's going to show a lot less benefit for your account than investing in someone like Massiah, who's a more global carry and who is far, far, far more relevant in PvP. So I do think some people sleep on that. For example, I have my Real Mocha for my clears. I have maxed out her S3, and if I could reset it right now, I would reset her. I wouldn't be using her anywhere, and I would put those perfect lattice elsewhere, perhaps even into someone like Massiah. When you're progressing, investing in Real Mocha is not a bad choice at all because she's so good in Dokidoki, and Dokidoki is so important to have beaten as quickly as possible as you're growing your account and it's getting older and older. But that being said, you're going to reach a point like where I am now, where I totally can beat Dokidoki without Real Mocha, and it's a little too bad that I've now essentially wasted 4 perfect lattices. Over the journey of my account, I did not waste them. I needed to use them when I used them. However, big picture now, it kind of sucks that 4 of those incredibly rare perfect lattices are sitting on a Real Mocha who I literally don't use anywhere else outside of here. Let's go back to our list now, and now we have Mio. Mio is going to fall in our niche choice category. Mio's really cool. Mio is a cute little character. She's got a ton of turn meter manipulation and crowd control within her kit. She can be an absolute pest in PvP. I hate going up against her. However, that mostly is her use. Yes, you can play her in Dokidoki, but there are so many good SR control units. I don't even know, there's a Mio team. There's so many good SR control units that are so much cheaper to invest in than a Mio that she absolutely is not needed here, though she can excel. For example, I've never built out my Mio. I just use Kazuyo the Reverie, or you can use an Obel or a Kraken or some combination of that bunch, or you can use the new girl, Hazuki Mari. There are so many SRs that are able to do the crowd control pieces of Dokidoki that it does not make sense to invest any perfect lattices into an SSR unit when you can do it on the cheap elsewhere. So kind of the main use is going to be for PvP, and she is really good, and the CC style meta teams are really annoying, but because that's her only real use and there are ways to counter it, and there are other kind of comps you can build instead, I don't think I can rank her above a niche choice. Next up, we've got Dokidoki. I'm going to rate her as a good choice. Dokidoki is a very hard carry support in this game, and she's absolutely phenomenal in PvP. However, the current meta is kind of not perfect for her, but we know they're making a big effort every single season with the PvP to reform metas. Recently, it's not happening that quickly, but her kit is going to age like fine wine. She is so freaking good. The boosting she gives, the cooldown reset she gives, everything in her kit, it is really something that cannot age poorly. She is going to be relevant for a very, very, very long time. You could see in the future with new content coming in and new PvP metas developing, she would be a lot higher up this list. But for now, she's a definitive good choice. If you don't have her and you do have Lily and you want her, you can confidently go pick her up. Outside of PvP, general progression, she's good for everything in PvE. Outside of that, when you get to endgame stuff, I don't think she's strictly meta anywhere. Perhaps there's something I'm forgetting, but she's definitely solid and usable. So I just think she's a really relevant unit, and I would hate to rate her as a niche choice when I see her kit as something very broadly powerful, and she has the kind of skills that are going to age very nicely with the game. So we've got her there in the good choice category. I am rating these in order, by the way, guys, so I am still rating Massiah above Dokidoki. They're just within the same tier. Now I've got Heinrich. He is also going to fall in the good choice category, and I am going to put him below Dokidoki. I love Heinrich. He is insanely versatile. He's an amazing damage and crit enabler with his last words unique debuff. That is phenomenal. He also has block, he has strip, he has heal block. This is a really unique combination of stuff. He has many multi-hitters, so you can even put him in a Revelation Shell for some DPS. It is a very unique, very well-rounded kit, but it's a bit out of place in the game right now. It's not out of place to the point that he's not usable. You can use him in a ton of places, but he just isn't strictly meta anywhere. He's just quite good in a lot of places. So for that reason, I can't rate him higher than these other two, but I also can't rate him lower than a niche choice, because you could find a way to slot him into a ton of content, and he also does get some PvP play. He's got a very good kit. Like Dokidoki, I think he's going to age very well, better than the units ranked lower than him, unless new content comes in that is very much designed for these niche choices. So I felt like Heinrich has to go in the good choice tier, but I could not rate him above Dokidoki and Massiah. Now, a pretty easy one, unfortunately. We've got Shadow Sonia, and she is definitively the worst choice here. I even thought of making a special tier for her, but then decided against it. She's going to slot in behind Mio in the niche choice tier, and it is for this reason. She has literally no relevance in PvP. She's basically unusable if you get anywhere out of the early game, and even then you probably have a better choice. We are playing a PvP game here, guys, and she is unusable in that entire half of the content in this game. She is very, very bad there. She has no relevance, in my opinion. All she really brings to the table is a ton of damage through dots, and unfortunately, they don't give us many options in this game to deal a ton of damage through dots. Many pieces of content like Aurora can't even be damaged by dots now. Another good example is going to be Sharon, where she totally would shine if they let dot damage be a thing, but because they make all these stipulations and basically they nerfed her a couple weeks into the game and made dots ineffective in many locations, she's just a DPS that can't deal damage in a lot of zones. She's still utterly dominant for Shadowflame Hoi-An. She is going to be the best choice here, but outside of that, there isn't much. You could really work hard to slot her into a couple other areas. The main place to use her would be Terramaton, where I don't even know if she's featured much anymore. Let's see some recent clears. She's still on recent clears. She's still totally good for this, but she is no longer meta. She's just a progression unit for this. So frankly, outside of Shadowflame Hoi-An, she's fairly irrelevant. And that is unfortunate. Again, as someone who invested 4 perfect lattices into her S1 to help with my Shadowflame farming at the time and to get my final push in Terramaton, it is frustrating. If I could reset her, I would. They really did this character kind of dirty. That all being said, if new content arrives in the game where you're able to deal damage through dots, then she's gonna shine. Once again, she'll return to her former glory, at least in that aspect. And potentially, if somehow a dot-based PvP meta ever arrived, she would be phenomenal for that. I think it would take a lot to make that happen. We'd probably have to get some new kind of anima, some new heroes coming into the game, or we'd need a new kind of shell, maybe a new piece of gear, some new rules. Something would have to change. As it stands now, she is the very definitive bottom of this list. And finally, we've got Lilium, and this is a great place to end because this is who I am picking. And I will tell you I'm picking her for 2 reasons. One, I think she is the best choice for any single player who already has Lily, as you can see here. And 2, I actually have the other 6, so it is a no-brainer choice for me. I'm going to rank Lilium as the second unit on our list and the only member of the great choice tier. I think because Lilium's launch was so muddied by the developers, it was such a weird thing. They kind of misrepresented things in her kit, then there was a bug, then they gave her a pretty big buff. Some people don't still understand how good she is now. A lot of people obviously do, but she is one of the queens of the game, and I would say she has an argument to be the single best DPS in the game. Single target DPS is really, really relevant in Etheria Restart, and she does it phenomenally well. It's kind of her and Yelly, and then of course our boy D-Ting from the SR rarity. If we just go through these Grim Pursuits, Lilium show, top 3 teams, all Lilium. That's Nico Nana. Let's go now to Sharon, Wouldn't You Know It, Lilium, left, right, and center. She's on 3 of these top 4 teams. If we go to Shadowflame, this is where you're going to use Shadow Sonia. But if you don't have Shadow Sania and you're not going to use her, then it becomes all Lilium once again. Lilium really is that good. Rengokutsu, of course, Lilium dominates here. It's basically her or Yelly. You can do D-Ting if you got really good gear and excellent support. And then finally, Carrion Crows, you're going to see a ton of Lilium once again. She is on all 4 of the top 4 clear times. If we now go to the recent clears, you're going to see her making a lot more appearances as well. There's Lilium, there's Lilium, there's Lilium, there's Lilium, there's Lilium. So she is just phenomenal for this. But it is one step further. I feel like a lot of people think of her as a Shell DPS, as a Grim Pursuit DPS, but she is very, very strong in 2 of the 3 thresholds. She's quite freaking good in Terramaton. She's on so many of the top teams, actually all of these top teams until team number 5 are featuring Lilium. She can be used in Doki, though that is pretty off meta and I wouldn't do it. Finally though, Aurora, she is, and Aurora is where you're going to want to eventually settle in and farm. This all being said, I don't think that's enough for her to be rated as a great choice. A lot of what she can do, D-Ting can also do. Yeah, it's a little harder to do it with D-Ting, but he's also a cheaper investment to build out. So why have I rated her in the great choice tier as the second unit on our list in a class all her own after Lily? It's simply this. Her kit for PvP is gold. She's relevant in PvP right now, even if for certain matchups it's just off meta. She's still going to be used constantly. She is so good when she goes into that void state. When you've got her wearing one of the Law of Silent shells, she's just phenomenal. And I don't even think she's at full potential. Because she cannot be crowd controlled, because she reduces max HP, because she hits so hard, because she has such crazy crowd control abilities to put out herself and CC the other team, I don't see how she will not age extremely well in PvP. And already she's a very strong force currently in PvP and extremely dominant in PvE. I think she's very well positioned to last you for a very long time in this game. And that's actually the final point I want to make. You've seen with a lot of these characters, I've keyed in on how good they are now, but also how good they could be in the future. And I do think you should always make sure to have that inform your decision making with things like this. In games with such limited content as what Etheria Restart has now that are so PvP focused, you always want to keep your eye towards the future to see, yeah, this unit's good now, but how could it play, you know, in future seasons of Summon Arena and stuff like that. I think that's really a valuable thing you can do when making big decisions like this for your account. So I really hope this was helpful. There you have it. That is my tier list of these 7 options. In order, ranking these guys from 1 to 7, it is going to go Lily, Lilium, Massiah, Dokidoki, Heinrich, Mio, and Shadow, Sonia. And the best way to end this video is I will finally make my choice, the only one of the 7 I'm missing on my account, and I will get my beautiful Lilium. So let's check in. We've got our Apex selection card. I can go to my inventory, I can go to consumables, and I can get my greasy little hands on my first ever copy of Lilium. And boy, does that feel good. I'm going to tell you, it is so crazy to me. I'm 100% free to play, and with this Lilium, I am now only missing Yeli. Yeli is on rate up right now, so I probably will do a YOLO 10 pull sometime next week. Maybe look forward to that if it's worth the video, but this is pretty cool. So thank you, XD, for doing this. Very cool to see a developer give us an LD selector for the SSR rarity. That's something I have never seen before. If you guys are not yet playing Etheria Restart, obviously, right now is a very good time to do so, so be sure to download it using my link in the description in the top pinned comment. So many freebies happening right now, so many promo codes, so many random rewards showing up in our mailbox. It is fertile ground if you want to start a new account and grow something beautiful. I've been Fasti. Thank you for watching. Share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.